The topic for our neuroscience project is How Learning Can Change the Brain's Neuroplasticity Chemically and Physically by Sue Tao, Claudia Torres, and Marisol Castaneda. What's the current issue? The current issue is if the brain has the capacity to form new neural connections from new learning experiences, then why can't the brain compensate for the lack of new memories in Korsakoff syndrome, a type of amnesia? What is amnesia? Amnesia is a partial loss of memory. There's two types of amnesia, retrograde and anterograde. Retrograde is the inability to remember events that occurred before the brain injury, and anterograde is the difficulty learning new memories. One can remember events that occurred prior to the injury but cannot remember information after the events of the brain injury. One anterograde amnesia that we will talk about is the Korsakoff syndrome. What is neuroplasticity? The brain's ability to recognize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life and compensate for damaged neurons. Undamaged nerve endings grow on axonal sproutings that reconnects with damaged neurons through new learning experiences. Neuroplasticity occurs in the brain during the individual's life and during the brain injury and throughout the maturity of the individual. What is learning? Learning is the ability to acquire skill and alter behavior as a result of new and old experiences. It allows us to change our nervous system and our behavior. Learning something new changes neural circuits that help aid in perceiving, performance, thinking, planning, and behaving. Neural system consists of the brain and spinal cord. Regions vital to learning are the amygdala and hippocampus. Types of learning. There's 4 types of learning: the stimulus response learning, motor learning, perceptual learning, and relational learning. Stimulus response is classical and operant conditioning. Motor learning is the component of stimulus response learning, responses within the motor system following a stimulus. Perceptual learning is the ability to learn to recognize stimuli that have been perceived before, or the ability to identify and categorize objects and situations. Relational learning is among the individual stimuli or connections between different areas of association cortex. Korsakoff syndrome. It's founded by a Russian physician. It's first to be described severe memory impairment caused by brain injury and the inability to form new memories but can still converse normally and remember events long before the injury. Experiences degeneration of mammillary bodies that are connected to the hippocampus via the fornix. This is caused by the misuse of alcohol.
Inflammation and brain plasticity reduction. Brain plasticity is the basis for systems. It reorganizes and develops recovery in multiple sclerosis. Sclerosis is an abnormal hardening of body tissue. Inflammation interferes with plasticity, but pharmacology can repair plasticity by promoting desired patterns of functional reorganization. Is brain plasticity impaired with MS inflammation? The methods the study used were patients and they were being assessed twice, one before and one after. Patients were compared with healthy control during session 1. Session 2 and 3 patients tested effects of reduction inflammation on imaging marker of plasticity. Patients with gadolinium increased during IFN beta. The results demonstrated that MS inflammation changes short-term plasticity underlying motor practice. The reduction of inflammation with IFN beta is correlated with the restoration of plasticity. Modification of inflammation can increase recovery strategies that depend on brain plasticity. Brain plasticity. Environmental exposure may have significant effects on brain development, sensory processing, learning, and memory. An example is visual experience in early life is required for proper development and functional of visual processing system. The bumblebee is the most greatly studied invertebrate of neuroplasticity. Bumblebees exhibit significant neuropale changes associated with both age and visual experience. Information processing, learning, and memory expands during the first week after emergence. MB expansion occurs in early life, even among honeybees, deprived of all light and social interaction. Can stimuli affect brain development in bumblebees? The results found an increase in regional brain volumes that occurs after emergence. Bumblebees show significant neural pill changes associated with both age and visual experiences. Peripheral nerve injury induces adult brain neurogenesis. Brain undergoes significant structural plasticity as a result of learning. Chronic construction injury of a sciatic nerve results in large-scale hindbrain remodeling through neurogenesis. Plasticity has been identified in the human brain using non-invasive imaging. The results found that chronic neuropathic pain induces extensive adult neurogenesis in the rodent hindbrain. Results correlate with the increased expression of neurogenesis and related mRNAs in the cerebellum under normal conditions. The scale of these rearrangements and the presence of neurogenic markers suggests that hindbrain regeneration and remodeling occur continuously even under normal conditions, possibly as an adaptive response in addition to neuroplasticity.
Can non-invasive brain stimulation induce neuroplastic changes? Non-invasive brain stimulation techniques can induce neuroplastic changes similar to those associated with motor learning. They investigated whether there was any relationship between individuals' neuroplastic responses to several different NBS protocols. Past decades have seen many groups investigate the potential non-invasive reorganization, aim for research to develop non-invasive brain stimulation protocols that induce cortical changes that lead to improved performance of motor tasks outlasting the period of stimulation, which could be used in therapy. They investigated whether an individual's neuroplastic responses to different non-invasive brain stimulation protocols correlated with each other and with their neuroplastic responses to motor learning. Changes in motor evoked potentials amplitude were used to assess the neuroplastic response to each protocol. Results provided no evidence of relationships between motor training and NBS-induced plasticity. Physical exercise in overweight to obese individuals induces metabolic and neurotrophic related structural brain plasticity. Previous cross-sectional studies on body weight related alterations in brain structure revealed profound changes. Obesity may lead to structural brain changes that are comparable with brain aging. Study participants were examined before and after a fitness course with intensive physical training over a period of 3 months. Participants 16 young, overweight, and obese volunteers. Results a comparison of the T1 weight MR images before and after the 3-month exercise program showed a significant increase of gray matter density in the left hippocampus, the left insular cortex, and the left cerebellum. In conclusion, overall neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself. It gives neurons in the brain the chance to make up for an injury or disease and to adjust to environmental and situational changes. Axon sprouting is the mechanism that allows the brain to reorganize itself. In axon sprouting, axons that have no damage develop new nerve endings in order to reconnect neurons that had links that were injured. They can also connect with other nerve cells that were undamaged to create new pathways needed to complete a function.